hear from two state leaders who have introduced and passed producer responsibility laws in their states. We're going to hear from Senator Lisa Cutter from Colorado. She represents Colorado's 20th district, which covers the western suburbs of Denver and Jefferson County. Senator Cutter authored HB 22-1355, which will transform Colorado's waste and recycling system by requiring producers to pay into a fund based on the packaging around their products. And the dues paid will fund expanded recycling infrastructure to collect and reuse glass, aluminum, and paper, and create an incentive for companies to reduce the amount of non-recyclable and unnecessary packaging that is wrapped around their products. So is Senator Cutter here? Looks like yes. So I will hand it off to you. Thank you so much for being here and for your leadership on this issue.
Thank you so much. I can't figure out how to do a different background, so I'm one of those people that's doing a Zoom from my car. So thank you very much for all of the commitment in this area. I'm super excited to talk about this bill. So in Colorado, this was primarily a recycling bill. We have a really horrible recycling rate, about 16%, which is half of the national average. And many residents throughout the state don't even have access to curbside recycling. So the infrastructure just grew up in a really, really weird way, and there's not a lot of consistency. And clearly we needed to do something. So we crafted this bill to charge manufacturers for their packaging and then use that money to build out a complete recycling system, including standardizing, which I think is really important. A lot of I unfortunately didn't hear earlier in the talk, you may have covered this, but a lot of the issue is people just don't understand. They don't know what to recycle, and there's confusion. And so if we can create some standardization throughout the state, I think that's a huge benefit. So even though the primary message and really the primary goal is recycling and to create that kind of infrastructure, we also recognize that this would be an opportunity to help reduce packaging as well, especially plastic, which I have a personal, I don't know what you say, but I can't stand plastic. I mean, I'm sure lots of you agree. It's really a problem in our system. And so I love about this bill that we look at that packaging and the fees we assess these manufacturers who are, contributing to create the recycling system are based on eco-modulation. So that there's some kind of incentive, monetary incentive for them to reduce their packaging. So eco-modulation just means charging for things based on their degree of how environmentally friendly they are. So there might be a number of different factors, and it would include charging more for things that can't be recycled, like plastic. So we think that if we really ramp up this recycling infrastructure, companies can get their materials from these, they don't have to use virgin materials all the time. They can get their materials from recycling bins. So we're creating a circular economy, which is something I'm really excited about. And that'll hopefully encourage them to use more recycled materials, glass, aluminum, that kind of thing, since it can come back to them and be reused. So it's just beneficial in so many different ways. And in the process of this, I was able to go on a circular tour, like an extended producer responsibility tour in Europe. And they're doing great things along these lines all over the world, including now in many states in the US. So it's been done and it can be done, and it can be beneficial. So we're excited to see how it works. It's in the process of being stood up right now. And it will be run by a nonprofit made up of producers. And we've already selected this nonprofit is on board, and they're starting work. And in Colorado, that really seemed like the best path forward. I think every state obviously has different issues and different things they need to look at in crafting their policy. And we have a lot of limitations here on government spending because of our really complicated tax structure. So we couldn't stand this up inside an agency. This had to be paid for and on a separately through another mechanism. And so the nonprofit needs to get approval for its plans from the state, and then this spring, and then there is an advisory committee for oversight. So this is a very complicated bill, and I'm sure most producer responsibility bills are pretty complicated. it took a lot of stakeholding. We had a lot of support, including Coperg here, which I'm so grateful for. We spent lots of time talking to every possibly impacted entity and kind of figuring out what made the most sense in terms of we don't want to just do random carve outs. We had to have some kind of reasoning behind it. So we really took a lot of time talking to people and listening and crafting the policy based on that. And I hope, because of the work we've done here and because of the work other states are currently doing, I know I've talked a lot with Maine and Oregon, who created similar policies before we did. And hopefully all of us doing these kinds of things and moving in this direction will be helpful to those coming behind, and that it'll be become more of a accepted thing throughout the United States, and manufacturers will understand this is the way we need to move, and it'll be a little bit easier as we proceed. So thank you for asking me here to talk about this today.